Hi guys, welcome to this live. This is my first live in this channel, and actually this is my first live in English because I have a second channel where I talk about the Word of God, but it's in Spanish. So I do Spanish videos, I do my lives in Spanish and everything. So I have this second channel which is everything in English, just like the same thing, but it is just the English version. So in my other channel, in my Spanish channel, I'm doing lives and then in my lives I'm reading the Bible. So we're studying the Bible together. So I decided to start making lives about the same thing but in English in this channel. So in these lives that I'm gonna be doing, we're gonna be having like a few lives throughout the week. And we're gonna be reading the Bible. We're gonna be studying the Bible together. So we're gonna be reading the Bible from the beginning to the end, because that's the better way of reading the Bible. If you open the Bible in the middle and you start reading it, sometimes you're not gonna understand it if you're not familiar with the stories that are being told in the Bible. So I recommended reading it from the beginning to the end, just like a regular book, right? Because if you open a regular book, you're not gonna be able to understand the whole story if you start from the middle. So we're gonna be studying the Bible. We're also gonna be we're gonna get rid of a lot of myths, right? Because when I was little, I used to believe in, like, they taught me this when I grew up, that when Eve ate the forbidden fruit, that the punishment for women was that we had to pay with blood every month, and that's where menstrual periods came from. So by reading the Bible, I realized that this is not true. It was just a myth. So we're gonna be reading it together, and we're gonna be looking at things a way that probably we were never taught. So we have a better understanding of the Word of God. So probably you're gonna notice me a little bit nervous because this is my first live in English, and English is not my first language, so it's gonna be a bit of a challenge for me, but it's everything to give glory to God, right? So we're gonna start doing this, and this is the first live. So obviously we're gonna start reading Genesis 1, the first chapter. We're gonna start from the beginning. So I want to clarify in this live a lot of things. Also, we're gonna be talking about the signs of God and the signs of Satan, because I'm gonna explain to you what this is. Normally, the science of Satan is, like, I call it that way. I gave it that name because it's when the people who believe that the universe and the earth were created by itself from this explosion called the Big Bang. And obviously, if you believe in God, if you're a Christian, you know that God was the one who created the earth and the universe, that it wasn't created by itself. So we're gonna understand what's the science of God and what's the science of Satan. So the science of God is what God tells us, how He created the whole earth, or the whole the earth and the whole universe, and then what the science of Satan is telling us, right? Like, for example, the science of Satan believes or teach us in school that we come from the apes, right? That we descend from the apes, and obviously God tells us the truth, that we descend from Adam and Eve. So that's what we're gonna be seeing in this video, because there's many things that I learned. For example, science tells you, and when I mean science, I mean science of Satan. They tell you that the sun was created first, than the earth. And obviously in the Bible, we're going to be reading what was created first, because in Genesis 1, that's what God tells us. He's going to tell us what He created first, how He created things. So that's why this video, it's called The Creation of the Earth. How did the earth was created? So let's start doing this. Also, so we can start like memorizing things. For example, really basic things, like what was created in the first day and the second day and the third day, because God created the earth in 6 days, right? The seventh He rested, which is Saturday. So yeah, we're gonna start reading that. We're gonna start learning that. So let's get started with this. Okay. So we're gonna start in Genesis 1. It says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. This verse is general. It's like an introduction that God created everything, right? It's just like, it says in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. That's it, period. And then in the second verse, that's where everything starts. It says, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. A lot of people would say that how was there light if there wasn't the sun? Because right now the sun wasn't created yet. So someone asked me in my Spanish channel, why was there light if the sun wasn't created yet? And that's we have an answer for that, because the sun doesn't mean that if we have the sun, it doesn't mean that, oh, we have light, right? Obviously the sun helps with light, right? If we don't have the sun, it's because it's night. So it's obvious, right? But we have in Revelation 21:23, it says when God brings the New Jerusalem, it says that the city is not going to have it says, let me read it to you. It says the city had no need of sun, neither of the moon to shine on it, for the glory of God did lighten it, and the Lamb is the light therefore. So light and the sun, it's like two separate things. Obviously the sun gives us heat during the day and light during the day, but light and sun, they're two different things. There can be light without the sun, right? So that's what it means. In verse 4, it says, and God saw the light, and it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. So right now we have that in the first day, God created the light. So in verse 6, it says, and God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. This is a tricky verse, because you have to pay very close attention. It says, God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the water, like in the middle of the water, and let it divide the waters from the waters, like the waters from above, from the waters from below. So he put a firmament in the middle of the waters, and it divided the waters. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters that were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. So heaven is the firmament, and heaven is the one that's dividing the waters from above from the waters from below. Obviously, you're going to be like, what does that mean? Like, which ones are the waters, right? So we're going to learn that later on. I'm going to be explaining it to you guys. So it says, and God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. And God said, were the second day, sorry. So on the second day, God created the heaven, the firmament, right? Okay, and it says, verse 9, it says, and God said, let there be waters under the heaven, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. So here he's talking about the waters that are under the heaven. Remember that the firmament, God called it heaven, and he divided the waters with the firmament. And there's a ton of water above the firmament, and then the water below the firmament. So right now we're reading about the waters under the firmament, under the heaven. So God said, let the waters under the firmament, under the heaven, be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters, he called them seas. And God saw that it was good. So right now we know that the waters that are under the firmament, under the heaven, they're called seas. They're the seas, what we know about, like the ocean. Those are the waters under the firmament. And then we have the earth, right? So it says, and God said, let the earth bring forth grass and herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth, and it was so. And the earth brought forth grass and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And it was the evening and the morning, the third day. So in the third day, God created the earth, well, basically the dry land, the sea, the ocean, and the vegetation. So the fourth day, he created the vegetation, the dry land, and the sea. Remember that before that, we have the firmament who divided the waters. And we had waters above the firmament and waters below the firmament. So now we can see that everything's like we can see a shape in everything, right? The waters below the firmament he gathered them together, and they're called ocean. And then dry land appeared, and it's called like the earth, what we know of earth. So, and then vegetation started growing. So if you guys can see right here, science says that the sun was created before the earth. That's what science says. And on like right here, we can see what God is telling us, how he created the world, is that we already have an ocean, like the ocean. We already have the dry land, and we already have vegetation, but the sun has not been created yet. So the sun was created after the earth, right? That's why I give this I separate it and I call it the science of God and the science of Satan, which is the science of Satan. It's a lie, which is mostly what people believe in, like the Big Bang, that the universe was created by itself or by an explosion. And then the true science is that God created the universe, right? And then for right now we can see that, the science of Satan believes that the sun was created before the earth. But God tells us that no, that the sun was created after the earth, even after vegetation, right? So let's keep reading. So, okay, remember the waters that were above the firmament? What waters are those? For many years, I was so curious until I kept reading and reading. And I'm going to tell you guys which ones are those waters because it's very, very interesting. So in verse 11, it says, and God said, let the earth bring, I already read that, sorry. So it was the third day. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. So right now, God is going to create the lights of the firmament, which is the sun, the moon, the stars, right? And he's saying that these lights, they serve as signs or for seasons, signs for the days, for the years, or for seasons. So they mark the seasons, they mark the days or the years. And we can clearly see this, right? And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. So the moon, the stars, and the sun, they're in the firmament, in the vault. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. Obviously, we can see here that he's talking about the sun and the moon. The greater light to rule the day, which is the sun, and the lesser light to rule the night, which is the moon. And it says, he made the stars also. This is very important because what is the science of Satan telling us? He's telling us that, the science of Satan is telling us that the sun is a star, right? And right here, God is telling us that the sun is the sun, the moon is the moon, like the greater light and the lesser light, the lesser light, yeah? And then the stars. He's clearly separating the stars from the sun and the moon because they have different things to do, right? So obviously the sun is not a star. The sun is the sun, the moon is the moon, and the stars are the stars, right? And it says, and God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. and the evening and the morning were the fourth day. So in the fourth day, God created the sun, the moon, and the stars. So you see how this is very clear that the sun wasn't created first, that the sun wasn't created before the earth. It was created after the earth. Like in the first day, God created light. In the second day, God created the heaven and the firmament. The third day, God created dry land, ocean, and vegetation. And in the fourth day, it wasn't until the fourth day that he created the sun, the moon, and the stars. So it says, let's keep reading. It says, and God said, let there be waters. Oh no, let the waters bring forth, let the waters bring moving creatures that have life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. And God created great whales, and every living creature that moved, which the waters brought forth abundantly. Oh my gosh, abundante. After their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let fowl multiply in the earth. And that was the evening and the morning, the fifth day. So in the fifth day, God created the sea animals and the birds. Right? This was after the sun and the moon. So it says, and, oh my gosh, I got lost. Okay, and God said, let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping thing, and beast of the earth after his kind, and it was so. And God made the beast of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creeped upon the earth after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And God said, let us make man in our image, and after our likeness. So God said, let us make man in our image and our likeness. So there was someone else with him. And this someone else is Christ. Because Christ was with him in the creation. Remember what John 1:1 says? John 1:1, I love this verse. It's very, I don't know if it's called verse in English. Versículo is in Spanish. But I love John 1:1. I love what it says. It says that in the beginning was the Word. So God, Jesus is the verb, is the Word of God, right? So in the beginning was the Word. And the Word was with God. And the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and life was the light of all mankind. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. So it's very clear that when it says, let us make man in our image, there was someone else with him. So this other person or other being was Christ. And it says, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeped upon the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. He created them. Male and female, he created them. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the earth, and over every living thing that moved upon the earth. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat, and to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creeps upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. and the evening and the morning were the sixth day. So in the sixth day, God created man, and he created the earth animals and man, like the dry land animals, like cattle, beasts of the land, and man. So this is like God created the whole universe in 6 days. 6 days. So we have 7 days, right, in our week. So the seventh day God rested, and that seventh day is Saturday. So God rested on the seventh day, and we're supposed to worship. We can worship God every day, right? But we're supposed to rest on the seventh day. So the seventh day, a lot of people believe that it's Sunday. That's why everyone goes to church on Sunday. But it's actually not. The seventh day is on Saturday. And like if you read through history, you can find that in the year 300, the old Christian church, they changed. They were part of Rome. Well, they're still part of Rome. They changed Saturday for Sunday. So that's why every Christian worships, like most Christian worships on Sunday. So, but the truth is that we're supposed to worship, we're supposed to keep Saturday instead of Sunday, right? So, we can see that in chapter 2, it says, "Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made." So on the seventh day, we're supposed to rest also. And right here, it doesn't say that, right? We're gonna know that like as we keep reading in the other lives that we're gonna be doing. But yeah, it's very interesting because I read the Bible in Spanish. This is like I don't read it in English, so probably that's why you see me like struggling with some words. But I read it in Spanish. So what I learned, it's that in Spanish, the seventh day is the Sabbath, right? Saturday, Sabbath. So in Spanish, Saturday is sábado. So sábado, which is in Spanish, it comes from the Hebrew word Sabbath, and Sabbath means to rest. So Saturday means to rest. But in English, the word Saturday, it comes from, let me see, I wrote it somewhere right here. It comes from a Roman god that they had, which it was Saturn, like the planet Saturn. So they used to worship Saturn, and it was one of the Roman gods. So that's why they start calling Saturday because of Saturn. But in Spanish, it's sábado, and it comes. So it's crazy how in English Saturday comes from the Roman god Saturn, and in Spanish, sábado comes from the Hebrew word Sabbath, which means rest, which means to rest. So yeah, and then also, that's all that we're gonna be reading. We're gonna be reading chapter 1 only. And before I continue to the end of this live, I'm gonna be telling you which one is the waters that are above the firmament, right? Because it says that God created the firmament and that he separated the waters with the firmament. So now there was waters above the firmament and below the firmament. So we know that below the firmament, the waters are the ocean, right? But which ones are the waters above the firmament? Well, there's waters above the firmament, above the sky. This is so crazy, right? But there are. And we can see this, what happened in Noah's Ark. The whole disaster. I'm trying to translate it because I'm trying to say it in Spanish. But yeah, what happened with Noah's Ark, right? The oh my gosh, I forgot the word in English. But yeah, what happened to Noah's Ark? The whole thing with it rained for 40 days and things like that. So it says, and we're gonna read it along the way as we keep reading, as we keep having more lives. So in Noah's Ark, it says that God opened the underwater, the gates from heaven, and a lot of water came. And that was besides the rain. So it was the rain, and then the gates from the firmament that is holding the waters from above. And then so that's what it says in Noah's Ark, and it's very interesting. And we also have this in Revelation 15:2. So in Revelation 52, when the apostle John sees the throne of God, under the throne of God he sees, it says, and I saw that there was a sea of glass mingled with fire. So he saw a sea of glass mingled with fire under the throne of God. So the throne of God was like on top of this sea of glass. So the sea of glass is it's very interesting because as you keep going up to the firmament, the temperature is going to decrease. So if the temperature decreases, it's going to get cold, right? So if there's water above the firmament, it's very cold over there. So obviously this water, it's going to turn somehow into ice, right? Water, like liquid and ice, right? So because the temperature is very low up there, that's why it says that he saw like a sea of glass, because you can see it's more like water with those glasses that he saw. It's more like ice, right? Like broken ice, because of how cold it was. Well, not that it's very cold, but yeah. Obviously, we can also see, if we read a Revelation, that John describes also that there's like a whole mansion made out of snow, right? Snow mixed with also fire, and that's how heaven looks like. So gold, we can see the New Jerusalem like with gold, and then also these mansions made of snow with fire. So it makes sense, right? So this this sea of glass that he saw, it's the water that's above the firmament, which is kind of frozen, not frozen all the way, but it's like, cold, because of how low the temperature is as you keep going up. So yeah, so that's very interesting. So that would be it. That would be everything for this live. I normally, in my lives that I do in Spanish, I don't read it by chapters, I read it by story. So in this one, we read it by story, but the thing is that the story is just the first chapter. So the creation of the world is in the first chapter, and then the second chapter, it talks about Adam and Eve, right? So we're going to be reading by story. So sometimes we're going to have lives that we're going to be reading 2 chapters of the Bible. Sometimes we're going to be reading 5 chapters, depending on how long the story is or how short. So yeah, I hope you guys like this live, and we're gonna continue having more lives if God let us. And yeah, I also have a Spanish channel if you guys want to go look at it. If you guys are bilingual, if you guys speak Spanish as well, so you guys can look at it and you guys can see the videos that I have. This is our first live in my Spanish channel. In my Spanish channel, we are in my 44th live, so we're very advanced, right? We're in Levitico, in the book in Leviticus, I think it's called in English, Leviticus, you pronounce it that way, but it's the 3rd book of the Bible. So yeah, so yes, that's it for this live. Someone commented on this live, so I'm gonna be saying hi to this person. Roy Escobar. Hi, Roy Escobar, thank you for being in this live. God bless you, thank you for being here. He's in Venezuela. You're in Venezuela. He says, hi, Berlyn. How are you? Hi, I'm very, very good. Thank you for being here. He says that actually my internet connection is not good because the hard rain here in Venezuela. You're in Venezuela. That's so cool. Did you grow up in Venezuela? How do you know English? Tell me. I have some interesting notes about the creation of God. Yes, the creation of God is very, very interesting. I love the book of Genesis. I love it. I don't have a favorite book because I love them all, but yeah, it's very interesting. All of the books of the Bible, they're very interesting in their own way, and I love it. I love history. Just love it. So yeah, guys, that's it for this live. I hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you soon in the next live. So stay tuned.